ask someone to think of an animal that glows, most people would say a firefly. Fireflies are able to glow through a process called bioluminescence. But did you know there are hundreds of creatures in the ocean that can do it too? The use of light is essential to survive in the perpetual darkness of the deep ocean, and it is one of the most impressive adaptations nature has evolved. I saw a documentary about these animals when I was a little kid, and I was so amazed that such creatures could actually exist and did actually exist. It made enough of an impression on me that I have continued to learn about and be fascinated by their strange world. To share with you some of what I have learned, I will talk about the habitats these creatures reside in, the use of bioluminescence in survival, and lastly, the actual process that makes it possible. I will start with the world of the deep ocean. Far enough down, the ocean becomes a very strange world. Under almost 2,000 feet of water, the light from the sun is nearly gone. It is this unique environment that has caused the strange adaptations of its inhabitants. The following points are filmed and considered in the documentary, The Blue Planet, The Deep. A lack of light requires inhabitants to find a new way to perform ordinary tasks like hunting, hiding, and mating. These things are hard for animals that live on the surface, and in the complete dark of the ocean, it's much more challenging. Pressure created from the water above is devastating to most other life forms. This means that these creatures are very isolated from the rest of the ocean's population. Although this realm is filled with life, it is relatively far spaced due to the lack of resources and the competition this creates. So, how does bioluminescence make these animals' lives easier? In this unforgiving realm, light is helping many creatures survive. Here's one way a fish uses light to hunt. I will play a short video.
Rated by living organisms.
So what you can see this fish will do is the lure on top of its head glows, and it will use that light, and other fish will look for a meal in that light, and it will bring them right in front of the jaws of the hunting fish. And so this is a very creative way this fish has used to hunt in the darkness. And that video is from the aforementioned documentary. Avoiding predators is just as important as finding prey is. When looking straight up from below, the water is murky blue, even though all the other water is black. What this means is that the silhouettes of fish are visible when looking from straight below, looking up. And so what some fish will do is they will have lights on the underside of their bellies. Some fish and shrimp will do that, and this light actually helps to mask their silhouette. Some species eject the light instead of producing it themselves. They will have bacteria that glows, and they will shoot out into the water as a distraction flare. This flare not only distracts the predator, but it might attract bigger predators that can hunt the thing that was hunting them in the first place. This effect is known as the burglar alarm effect. Some lights are used to attract a mate. Species may not live very close together, again because of the competition for resources, and when you're going to avoid anything that moves because it might eat you, these lights will help to two species of the same find a mate. So now that you know what the lights are used for, it's time to know how they work. The fact that a living organism can produce light may shock some people, but it starts at the microscopic level, just like most light processes. Although different from life form to life form, it is all done through a chemical process. This process starts with the compounds called luciferase and luciferin. These react together when in the presence of a third element is introduced, which depends on the species. Edith Wither notes in her paper, Marine Bioluminescence, that the reason this process occurs with such variation is probably due to a case of bioluminescence evolving individually in completely separate species, and they evolve a similar process through different ways because they are faced with the same challenge, surviving in the dark. Not all luminescence comes directly from the animal. Although most animals produce these chemicals themselves, some actually store bacteria that glow for them, such as the anglerfish you saw in the video earlier. In the book Bioluminescence, Nature and Science at Work, Mark Zimmer references the use of different colored light. Most bioluminescent light is green or blue because the deep sea creatures cannot see the low energy waves of red light. This allows the few of them that can see this red light to hunt prey with it while remaining unseen because their prey cannot see the red light. So as you can see, nature has some pretty amazing ways of adapting to survive. Now you know a little more about the world, life, and science that make up bioluminescence. As I said in the beginning, it is a way of life for these animals and a truly amazing way to survive. So next time you look outside on a summer night and see some fireflies shining in the darkness, take a minute to appreciate how incredible it is for them to be able to glow, and think of the extraordinary lives of the creatures far away under the sea who will never see any light other than that which they make.